There are several types of lactose intolerance. Some are temporary and some are permanent, and some populations are more at risk of having lactose intolerance. In this video, we'll learn each type and the number one risk factor. Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Graham Dersnah. Welcome to Bite Size Medicine, where we learn about common medical topics so you can take control of your health. While you're watching, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let's get started. In the previous video, we learned what causes lactose intolerance and how it leads to the numerous symptoms. It all depends on whether the enzyme lactase is present or not in the small intestine to digest the sugar lactose. Now we'll learn the 4 different ways that lactase can be affected, and we'll learn who is most at risk for developing lactose intolerance. Then stick around to the end of the video for some bonus info about lactose intolerance. A gene is a set of instructions programmed into our DNA, such as for hair color or eye color. Lactase is also a gene that the cells of the small intestine can activate to make it. There are 2 types of lactose intolerance that are caused by a change in the lactase gene. The first is called congenital lactase deficiency. This is the type where there is a problem in the gene or it is missing, so the cells cannot make much or any lactase. A person with this type can never digest dairy products starting from birth. The second is called lactase non-persistence, or primary lactase deficiency. In this type, the cells can make the normal amount of lactase in childhood, but lose their ability to make it as the person ages. So a person with this type will be able to digest dairy products early on, but will start to have symptoms later in life. This is the most common type of lactose intolerance. The 2 other types of lactose intolerance are not caused by a genetic problem. The first is caused by anything that leads to damaging the small intestine. If the cells are damaged, they won't work properly and cannot make lactase. Some examples of causes include other diseases like Crohn's disease, infections, trauma, and surgery. This type is called secondary lactose intolerance. A person with this type may or may not be able to digest dairy once the problem is fixed. For example, if it was due to an injury that heals, then they will not have lactose intolerance. But if they have a surgery to remove part of the small intestine, they may have permanent lactose intolerance. The second occurs when a baby is born prematurely. Their intestines may not be fully working, so they do not produce enough lactase. A person with this type will most likely only have lactose intolerance until their intestines develop and produce more lactase. The main risk factor to having lactose intolerance is your ancestry, because each region or population around the world had diets consisting of different amounts of dairy. People with a European background are more likely to be able to digest lactose as their diet had more dairy, whereas people with Asian, African, or Hispanic backgrounds had less dairy, so are more likely to have lactose intolerance. For sticking around to the end, here is one more fact about lactose intolerance. It is not an allergy. Lactose intolerance and having a milk allergy are 2 different problems. We now know lactose intolerance occurs when lactase is not produced, so our body cannot digest lactose, which leads to the diarrhea and other symptoms. But a milk allergy occurs when our immune system responds to the dairy products by attacking it. Someone with a milk allergy will most likely show allergic reaction symptoms very early in life, and it could be life-threatening. Check out my allergy videos to learn more. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions, have a personal experience in this area that you'd like to share, or have ideas for a future video. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time for another delicious bite of medicine.